Show me your hands now! Stand up and walk towards us!
Air clear's going to go ahead and fly whenever any. Take it down 60 feet.
Confess to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime.
These days, the world is filled with crimes, but this crime we will expose today is from another level of sickness. We show you the insides of a shocking discovery by a cop when he realizes a father brutally executed his kids. What could have possessed this father to take their own children's life, this brutal? Would you understand this father if he had a reason or sickness, or would you give him the death penalty right away? Let's find out when we dive into this case. On June 15, 2023, a heartbreaking tragedy unfolded as the lives of Clayton Dorman, Hunter Dorman, and Chase Dorman were taken away from them. The three young brothers fell victim to a fatal shooting perpetrated by their father, Chad Dorman. The Cincinnati Enquirer reports that Chad had harbored intentions of ending the lives of his sons for several months. The victims, age 7, 4, and 3, met a tragic fate. Disturbingly, it is reported that when one of the boys tried to escape, forced him back, and ended his life, Chad, who is 32 years old, now faces the possibility of the death penalty as a consequence of his actions. But the question is, does he get the death penalty? Like any other mysterious story, it began with a 911 call. The police went to Claremont County, Ohio, after receiving 911 calls from people who were approached by a scared girl on the road. The emergency hotline asked, "Where are you calling from?"
911, where's your emergency?
There's a girl running down the street, being like her stepfather is killing everyone in her family. It's on the corner of where there's a body shop in the fire department. Do you know what road this is?
Okay, what's your name?
Give it into the fire department.
What's your name?
Do you know what road this is? Laura Lendell Road.
What?
It's Laura Lendell Road.
How shocking is the story of this psychotic killer? When his stepdaughter was in the nearby room watching TV, Doberman unexpectedly pulled out a rifle and shot his 4-year-old Hunter twice in the head. The 12-year-old girl hurried in to get her mom, trying to shield her hurt brother from Doberman, who fought aggressively and even harmed his wife to get to the boy. In a desperate attempt, his wife tried to grab the rifle. As a result, she got shot in the hand, causing her to drop her son in the line of fire. While the mother fought to save her little boy, the young girl told her remaining brothers to run away as far as possible. They fled the scene together. The 7-year-old Clayton managed to get 300 feet into a nearby field before his father shot him from behind. Doberman then went after his stepdaughter, who was trying to carry her last brother, 3-year-old Chase, to safety. When he caught up to them, he told her to put the boy down and tried to shoot at them, but luckily his gun jammed. Now separated, the last son ran back to the house where Doberman caught him, while the stepdaughter escaped to the nearby fire department to seek help. How terrific is it to be killed by your own parents? Let's take a look at real footage of the arrival of the police at the house and how the psycho dad reacts to the police. Officers arrived at around 4 p.m. to find the shooter, 32-year-old Chad Doberman, sitting calmly by the door. He didn't respond to commands from law enforcement, so the officers approached the house.
Push your hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand the up!
Air clear's going to go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands up. Tell them we're 21. Send the air.
Firstly, there were a total of 9 shots fired that afternoon. One of the boys got shot once, and the other 2 were shot 4 times each. Surprisingly, he didn't try to harm his wife or stepdaughter, even though they had called for help. They were the only other people inside the house during this situation.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober.
63, we're 21. Get the EMS over here.
Doberman didn't show much emotion when he walked past the bodies as the police arrested him. He seemed strangely okay with the officers taking him in. After spending one night in police custody, the reality of the situation began to hit him. Doberman, visibly upset, refused to wear the jumpsuit given to him and resisted as officers put on his handcuffs, getting him ready for his first court appearance.
Man,
Hey, pretty poppy on there. Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad, I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him.
All right.
He won't bite you.
Look at me, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Don't mind. I know, just take a deep breath for me, okay? I'm gonna have your public defender come back and talk to you, okay? And then we're gonna go out and we're gonna do your hearing. Can you hear me? Do you need a second? Take a deep breath.
An officer explained to him about the court formalities.
Yeah, out there, okay? When you walk out, you'll see a piece of black tape on the floor. All I need from you is to stand on that piece of black tape, face the judge only, and just listen. They'll say that you have the right to remain silent, and I advise you to use that, okay? Because everything in there is recorded. So I want you, again, just to stand there, look at the judge only, don't turn to the media, don't turn to anybody in the audience that you may know. Listen to the judge and let your public defender do the talking for you, okay? Do you have any questions for us?
He might be going through a moment of dissociation, a defense mechanism where the mind emotionally disconnects from what's happening due to intense stress or trauma. It's not rare for individuals in Doberman's situation to go through these episodes. This could clarify why he didn't show much emotion at the crime scene. After being emotionally numb for a while, his nervous system is now overwhelmed with all the feelings he had kept inside. Doberman enters the courtroom, and the prosecutor goes into detail, listing his crimes, describing it as an incredibly horrifying case. Want to know what his punishment is and how the father is living these days? Watch until the end of this video, and do not miss out on subscribing to our channel and liking the video. His legal representatives are making efforts to secure the best outcome for him. But what on earth can justify parents killing their own children? In a talk with the Inquirer, he mentioned that most of the requests were normal for cases where the death penalty is possible. He said, "They ask for every possible thing." Allen also said, "You don't want the jury to automatically think the person is guilty." He finished by saying, "The idea is that if you've been found guilty by a jury and served time, you might feel sorry for the defendant." As for why Chad killed his sons, it's not clear. Some think he did it to hurt his 34-year-old wife, believing she was cheating on him. This reason is not confirmed. On the day of the incident, Chad's wife got hurt. Judge Ferentz mentioned that Chad has behaved well in jail. He said, "Mr. Doberman has not caused any problems in the county jail. He has been in my courtroom twice and has followed the rules. This will be considered when deciding how he should be restrained." What, can you believe this? Let's see if the jury had helped reduce the punishment of this murderer of his own children. So, they walk towards us, going to go ahead and try whatever any person does? Just so, what could possess a parent to take their own child's life, and just how twisted would they have to be to not only consider such a horror, but to plan it for months?
Judge, I asked the court in setting this bond to just begin to imagine their fear. This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. The man they trust more than any other person on earth. The person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world, he was their guardian, and he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission.
This wasn't a random act. Doberman had reportedly been planning to kill his sons for months, starting from October 2022. It's also said that he hadn't slept for 3 to 4 days before the incident. What baffles both detectives and reporters is the motive. Why would a father, even if he was abusive, decide to kill all 3 of his children?
To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day. This did not happen on a whim. Confess to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime. I hope it's the worst fact pattern that ever comes before this court.
Doberman is visibly crying now, showing what seems like remorse, though he hasn't shown such emotions before. Neighbors confirm his vicious character, describing him as a man with a temper who constantly yelled and mistreated his wife.
Very angry man. Like, he just was always yelling at his wife and his kids, and You just really don't pay no attention to stuff like that, and then this happens.
The prosecutor is requesting a bail of $20 million, a high amount to ensure he stays in custody until the trial, considering the violent nature of the crime and the potential flight risk.
The facts of this case are hopefully like no other we will ever see. When this case gets indicted in the Court of Common Pleas, I am certain that a no bond hearing will be held, and I would hope that would be granted. But at this point, at this juncture, we're going to ask this court to issue a bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. I hope I never need to request such a bond again.
While the details of the case are still unfolding, the prosecutor has mentioned it could be a death penalty case, seeking justice for the brutal killing of his sons.
These are men and women with families, children, feelings, emotions. They're not some automaton performing a delegated function for people.
These victims were real people with families, feelings, and emotions, not just statistics. The ultimate punishment is needed for such inhumane crimes, and the prosecutor is determined to seek justice.
A motions hearing ahead of his trial, which is set to begin July of next year. It's important to note, he is facing the death penalty, which has become a rather complicated issue in Ohio.
Another governor in the near future that might say, hey, let's speed it up. New drugs that cause people to die, that are more accessible, some of the problems could end.
Is there any legislative fix in your eyes?
Well, there probably are some legislative fix. They could, but there again, there's a lot of division. The root of it is there are so many people that are strongly against it and so many people that are strongly for it.
Let the facts speak for themselves. He slaughtered his 3 children in the most brutal fashion you could imagine.
I can't go into a whole lot of facts, all right, because this is a death penalty case, and my goal was to have this man executed for slaughtering these 3 little boys.
I think that's exactly right. I think that they might be, someone like that might be more sympathetic to him. I don't think anyone can understand this crime and understand what happened, but maybe they would, have some sympathy. Maybe somebody he could possibly relate to. We don't know what his story is going to be. He did plead not guilty, so there's some kind of defense that he's going to put up, and we don't know what that might be, but I guess he's looking for people that will be more sympathetic, because most people would not in this situation be very sympathetic for him.
Yeah, so not guilty pleas pro forma. So you're always going to plead not guilty because you can't work it all out in the first moment. So you plead pro forma not guilty, and then your lawyers could either do a change of plea to guilty by reason of mental insanity if that bears out, or whatever other reasons come out. Also, it gives you a chance to look at the discovery and not have a sentencing. Once you plead guilty, you're staring down the barrel of a sentencing. But you plead not guilty, and you can work things out. You can see if you can get it down to manslaughter. You can negotiate the pleas. A lot of things there. But in terms of the jury here, most places have to have what they call a death penalty certified jury, which means if the juries can't come back with a death verdict, they can't be on the veneer person cannot be on the jury. So if they're death certified, then they go to the second step, and the judge has to find that it's in the court's best interest to certify or to grant the death. So there's different layers to it.
It's certainly a better argument than trying to get like Holocaust perpetrators on your jury. I mean, how absurd is that? How do you have somebody on the jury that has been convicted of a crime and that served their sentence? I don't even think they're allowed to be on jury duty, let alone sitting in a jury panel. Okay, so first of all, that's bizarre. But I do agree that suggestive terms can be manipulative, and that, language is very, very, it can work to your advantage or your disadvantage. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I don't think that that's a terrible thing, but, convicted felons that have served their term on my jury, as I said, I mean, why don't we just put Holocaust perpetrators and, let's go with dictators that got away with it. And those are the guys that we would want to have on the jury. And then there'll never be a guilty conviction.
The question of today, what would you do if you were a judge and needed to punish this kid killer? Let us know in the comments below. If you like these cases, we have some more true come cases you like to get into as well. Subscribe to be part of our tribe and be the first to watch the newest interesting caught on camera cases.